Okay, hello. So welcome to the Merpay Tech Fest 2022. I'm a CTO of Merpay. I'm Nozawa. In this session, I and also the two people talk about the Merpay's past activities and futures at the Merpay Engineering. So first, let me introduce the speakers briefly. And I am the CTO of Merpay, Nozawa. I was working in the startup providing a QR code payment. And then in Merpay, I've been doing similar things. And then next is in the product development area, VPO engineering, the Sensui. Hi, good afternoon. I'm a VP of engineering, Sensui, in product engineering. So in the previous job, I was working on the web. And then I started working in the Merpay in the beginning of the Merpay. And then currently, as a VPO of engineering, I am leading the development organization. So last person is a VP of engineering of the platform engineering, Hideo-san, Kimura-san. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a VP of engineering of a platform engineering. I'm Kimura. So I joined the Merpay in May 2018, and then I've been working of this platform engineering. I was working in DNA previously, and I was the director, executives of the technology. Okay, I'm looking forward to the active discussion. Yes, so we are going to proceed this session with these three people. And in the beginning, briefly, I will explain the past of the Merpay, and then after that, we are going to go into the discussion. So even during the session or at the end of the session, if you have any question, please feel free to put the YouTube chat or Twitter hashtag, and also you can give us any feedback. And the hashtag of this event is the hashtag Merpay Tech Fest. So please use this hashtag when you post it on Twitter. So first, Merpay is responsible for the financial service in Mercari. But maybe some people don't know much about the Merpay, so I'd like to introduce you the services that we offer. Our mission is to building a trust for a seamless society. So, free market application of the Mercari will facilitates the selling and buying of the stuff that you don't need anymore. By doing that, we're gonna create a seamless society, and also by providing the payment platforms, we'd like to facilitate the smooth flow of the money as well. And so these are the major services of Merpay, and the payment and wallet increases and credit line. The payment is probably the easiest to understand. Probably you are familiar with that. When you sell something in Mercari, you will receive the sales proceed to your account. And if you want to use the sales proceed, or if you want to connect the Merpay account with your bank account and charge the balance, and then you can use that balance to do the selling and to do the purchase in the physical stores with Mercari. And we have a different payment. We have an ID payment and the QR code payment, and so these two can be used in physical stores, but in case of an online EC site, if you can use a credit card number that is linked to your account, and then you can receive the virtual card to pay. Or in case of the partnering EC side, you can use the Mercari account for the payment. And the second area is a credit limit or credit line. So, so credit line is that you don't have money right now, but you want to pay it. You want to buy and you want to pay it later, and or you can pay with your sales proceed. So the payment is the payment or the exchanging of the money that you have currently, but the credit line is the money that can be used in future, but then you can leverage it now. And we have a next month payment or a fixed amount payment, like a pay later services, buy now, pay later. Those are available. And also, maybe from the application, you can borrow the money to your account. So that's the loan service. And last one is the wallet increases. This is the investment of your fund. Compared to the other tools, this is still a developing wallet, but we are providing this investment service. And also in the group, we have a Mercoin, which is doing the cryptocurrency. So we will going to link this wallet increases with that, and then so that we can use the cryptocurrency. And so it's been 3 years that Merpay started the service, and at the time of a launch, ID payment and QR payment were the first ones, and after that, we provided the Merpay Smart Payment, like a next month payment, and a fixed amount payment and credit limit. And also we partner with the funds to provide the wallet increases. So starting with the payment, then we have been expanding our line of businesses so that we can provide the total financial services. That's what we are aiming for. So we are developing different services in Merpay, but by ourselves, it's not our final goal that we establish different services by ourselves, but just like Merpay later. So you you buy something on the Mercari, and then you will use that money to pay it later. So because of that activity, that can create the credit of that person based on that activities. And so we are hoping that these services can be utilized within the entire Mercari Group. By using the Mercari, we use the payment or the transaction history of the customers to create the credit limit for the customer. So application and backend services, and on top of those, the credit information have to be analyzed. So we need a machine learning platform, and we have invested on the machine learning platform as well. So after launch, it's been 3 years, and other engineering team, I'd like to talk about how our engineering challenges have been changed. So launch to the growing phases. Especially from last year to this year, we've been going through these changes. So first, services are diversified. As I said earlier, we started with the payment services, but then we started the pay later services and the loan services. So these products are connecting with each other, and so we use the microservice architecture basically. So the multiple product lines are split into the different microservices. So each financial services, pay later and payment, each has a complex business requirements or legal requirements. Therefore, in order to meet, if these legal requirements and business requirements are all mixed up, it's not easy to development. So, therefore, by splitting them into the different microservices, we can develop easier. So that is a benefit. But then the number of the microservices increases, so it is getting difficult to grasp the entire picture.
For example, the left one is a payment and the left one is a deferred payment. So when there are changes applied to the payment area, then in direct impact, you may think that there will be no impact on the deferred payment. However, if you go back and trace the total impact, we can find out some impact from microservice A to microservice D in some cases. So for the stable operation of microservices at MicroPay, or Merpay, so the structure as well as team structure of microservices are viewed from a total perspective, and also between each microservices or something that go within microservices, and also from a total perspective, how much is the impact goes to what areas. That should be also very important to be reviewed as well as considered. And even after the development, you might test those microservices. And when you are developing a microservice for other types of projects, so how can you view the total impact on such microservices? This is also very important to grasp. And even after the launch of the services at an operational stage, so there can be mismatch of the data between those microservices involved, and how can you capture them? So those are also being tried these days more and more. So far as Merpay, how have we been dealt with? So there are many types of microservices, and different from observability as well as operational state of microservices, what type of information is handled in each microservices, or what are the dependencies among microservices? So that type of information is collected so that you can be reviewed, and it is on a dashboard style made up in-house. And also there is new framework developed so that some processes can be automated. And this has been available from the launch. So there is a critical microservice data and reconciliation of such important data. That type of mechanism was available, and also it's been enhanced day by day. So in this TechFest, so to each of the topic, there will be some detailed topics for each of the topics that I talked about. So I hope you could enjoy them. So another point, from the point of the growth period. This is from a translator. I'm sorry, the sound is not available for translator. Please be patient for a while. So conventional customers, we try to provide customers to newer investment or newer type of features. However, in addition to providing features, we need to secure the security as well as peace of mind for the users, and that type of awareness is increasing. So when it comes to credit card as well as code payment, as well as ID password theft by phishing attacks, so those can be more and more fraud cases handled these days. And at Merpay as well. So in order to provide secured services, we have done a lot of effort. So in the use of Merpay, so the identification utilizing PKIG, that's one area. So that is to identify yourself by a smartphone or a licensing card. So in order to ease the case, utilizing my number card, and utilizing that chip on the my number card, you can identify yourself. Or in the case of credit card payment, we use 3D Secure 2.0. So that will lower the burden for the customers, but also enhance the security feature. So in addition to these types of effort, as a technological infrastructure, the fraud detection as well as the fraud transaction detection. So that type of stable operation is also enhanced, as well as the machine learning pipelines are also enhanced for that purpose. And also graph theory is also utilized for the fraud detection. Those have been some of the efforts we have been doing so far. So for the growth period, we are trying to enhance services as well as to cope with the size enlargement of the services. Another keyword I need to talk about is, of course, we have developed some services as Merpay, and also the features in Merpay should be also contribute to the financial services in Mercari in general. For example, this is about 2 years ago. So they're under the Mercari Group. So what type of web services are provided? So flea market services by Mercari and also FinTech G was another service. But currently under Mercari Group, there are such many companies under Mercari Group. So Mercari shops that provide services by Shogo company, and also logistics services provided by Merlogi, and also encryption services are provided by Mercoin. So such group companies were also added since then. So such businesses. So it's not enough for each of the business independent to run their business. So payment and credit service, they should not be always independent, but from a total perspective, Mercari, there are various services, and how can we embed financial services in a natural manner to cover those total services? So as the scope of the business of ours increase, so that means there should be some new services opportunity to provide, multiplying the financial services that as well as the existing services that we have been doing so far. And what are the connections or the linkage we need to satisfy? That's also a challenge. At the time of the launch, we focused on the launch of the independent payment service. But together with Mercari, how can we increase the experience or enhance the experience of the users as well as technical design point of view? So we need to look at both of those areas. At Mercari Merpay, so there is a concept called sales. So whether there is an increase in sales or decrease, as well as points increase or decrease, as well as there is a payment. So there should be a history for various types of functions. And they are dispersed, but how can we consolidate or integrate those data so that customers can feel that our applications are easy to use? And also from more technical point of view, Mercari, Merpay are independent companies, and we are developing products independently. However, as an application, it's a Mercari application, and there is a tab called Merpay. So, in a nutshell, this is going to be a one system. So, how can we develop further independently without friction, as well as trying to deploy new technologies? At the time of deploying new technologies, we need to share knowledge each other so that we can be better in developing better products. So those have been the effort we have been doing, as well as trying all the time. So the integration of user experience as well as experiences, not only that, but pure system design as well as functions. Well, from that point of view, at the time when initially Merpay was launched, those red points such as CRM, identification, merchants management, so those functions are required in order to establish Merpay as a platform. And from that point, platform has been enhanced so far. However, as more and more business have been conducted by other group companies, such group companies have also attached importance on those areas. From the point of the merchant management, at the beginning, Merpay just needs to focus on the merchant management. However, there is also a service called Mercari Shops now. And merchants are also involved in Mercari Shops service. Therefore, as a total group, we need to share the data as a total data from the point of merchants management. And how should we manage it? So we need to set up an infrastructure from a total perspective. And this is becoming a new challenge for us as well. So far when it comes to group infrastructure, so how can we establish microservices based on Kubernetes? So it was a kind of infrastructure layer type of story. However, we need to go up. So from the point of business logic, there should be always an infrastructure. And in providing various types of businesses, there should be some basic fundamental microservices. And how should we manage it? And how can we design so that it can be scalable? That's also one challenge.
So by the way, I'd like to wrap up. So the recent changes of Merpay is like we were in a launching phase, and now that we become a growing phase, we are in a growing phase, and we need to enhance our systems. And then the services, microservices are diversified, and so we had to create the system to cope with that. And also the size expanded, so we had to provide better security and safety. And so the security systems it has been one of the big focuses for us. And also, as a Mercari Group, it's supported by the financial service. So we need to integrate the user experience, and also as the system's functionality, we had to have the financial service platform to support the entire Mercari Group. So we have to think about how we can design and how we can develop for that. And we need to have a strategy as a group. And then that's what we've been working on. So these challenges have not been solved, and we had a lot to do going forward as well. For example, we are in a growing phase, so the information of the microservices are being collected. On the other hand, using this information, and then we have to organize the processes, or we have to expand the services, and we have a big back office businesses to handle the merchants or customers or float. And so using the technology, how we can make the back-end processes efficient. So that's another challenge. And for the financial service to support the entire Mercari Group, of course, we need to invest on the platform. We have to continue to invest on the platform for a while. So we have to have an organizational approach. And recently, we have a development center in India now. So using this development center, we have to expand the service development. Not only the Japanese development center, we work with the overseas development center. In order to do that, we have to have more English language capability. And also we need to consider the diversity and inclusion if we are working as an international organization. So those are also challenges for us. So I talked about what we did in Merpay, and then what kind of challenges we had to deal with going forward. So now I'd like to include a 2B VPoE and to do the deep dive of this topic. So please join. Yes. So we'd like to talk about two topics. First topic is when we look back, what was the unique initiative as a Merpay or unique challenges in Merpay? I know you had a lot of experiences. And so let's look back the past. What was unique about Merpay? So first, I'd like to talk about the increasing number of companies in the group. So I mentioned that. And so companies and the Mercoin were established. And when we created the new companies, because we had to do it from scratch. So in order to run the business, we have to secure the resources and the human resources. But okay, we are going to launch this company and that companies, and then the people volunteered to launch the new businesses in a very passionate manner and in a very speedy manner. And so that was amazing for me, who joined from another company. So Hideo-san, looking back then, so what kind of culture do we have so that we can launch new companies? Yes, the launching a new business, a new company. Yes, we tend to make a rocket speed. And once we decided to do, it may not be the top down, but then we gather the resources and then make a rocket start to launch the new business. That's how we created the Merpay. The old previous Sozo company was the base, but then we also had to collect some people from the Mercari to launch the company. So yes, you may feel you may find the different resources from the different organization. Yes, because of that, the new companies, of course, runs a different business. But our common value is the go for all and all for one. But we share the common values. But then each company has a different culture, just like a different villages, which is very interesting. Okay, so for Hideo-san as a Merpay, what do you think of the very unique initiative at Merpay? Maybe related to what I just said. So we launched the Merpay, and we also send the people to Mercoin, for example. But then, as Nozawa-san, just like Nozawa-san, the company, all the companies that we merged together, the origami, and so then our organization grew very big. But I wanted to make the organization very flat. I don't want it to have a many hierarchy or layers. So VP of engineer was Ozawa-san and CTO was Soa-san, and so we appointed the 3 VPoE, which was unique because I wanted it to have a flat organization without a hierarchy. So that was a very unique. And another one was, as Nozawa-san said, it was about the launching phase. We made a rocket start and expanded the business, and then we created the technical debt. And so we are the tech company. So instead of just leave the technical debt as it is, I'm sorry that this is a translator. We have a technical issue. The original voice is not available. Okay. So these are the 2 things that are very unique about Merpay. Okay. So 3 VPoE, which was surprising. I was one of them, but I was surprised by that. It was a luxury, I think. But then after that, when we look back the different events, probably we needed to have a 3 VPoE. Each of 3 has the different strengths, and then, with 3 people, we could look over the technical organization. And now that we have a Sensui-san as well, but so Sensui-san, you worked with the 3 VPoE. So what did you think? I mean, as one of them. So what did you think about that? Yeah, 3 VPoE the very unique. Usually, CTO and VPoE are in pair in other organization. But I agree that we needed to have the flat organization. So, in order to follow the scaling organization. So I like it. I like the flat organization. So, Sencha-san, so what did you find any initiative as unique for Merpay? Hideki-san talked about the technical debt, so I'd like to follow that. So we had to rewrite the large application, so which is necessary for all the companies, like as a Mercari. As a whole group, we had to work on that, which was very unique. So looking back, the Mercari code base has been continuing before the Merpay. So therefore, the technical debt has been accumulated since 2018. We started the microservice migration, and then Mercari 11 had to be written, which was started in the beginning of 2020. And so that was completed last summer. So if you are interested in, please check the blog.
And also, I'm rewriting applications because it was prepared for the beta release very recently. So it started, this rewriting started at the same time of web. But when it comes to application, so it includes Mercari as well as Merpay functions. And as for applications, so the code bases for them are different. So for the sake of rewriting, it was for Mercari. However, the code base linkage are in many places. And also, while Mercari is code base is rewritten, Merpay has to keep running their business. Therefore, the Merpay source code, so the existing Mercari's code base as well as the Mercari code base rewriting, so those should be combined as well as keep operation. So you may feel that this might be a very difficult task. So including all of these, so business of those technologies both needs to be considered, and we need to come up with some approaches that would make them possible at the same time. And that was very challenging. And as Mercari and Merpay, I think it was more like a kind of group Mercari type of activity. So Mercari application as well as Merpay. So there will be Mercoin as well, Mer shops. There will be more and more areas. So there should be some common areas, but they don't have to be mixed. However, they should be organized as well as to some extent they need to be independent. And I think that seems to be a very important or background concept of Mercari. Thank you. So may I move on to the next theme? This is more about future. So what are the challenges you face right now, and what efforts do you think you could address? With what efforts do you think you can address them? So let's start this time. Sensui-san, how do you feel about that theme? If I try to express a word, where are we going to make up an organization from the point of business or from the point of technology? I think this is a very difficult point to decide. As Nozawa-san talked in the summary, how can we execute it from a point of business will be very important. At the time of launch of Merpay, so microservices on the financial services, that was launched. At the time of the launch, the beginning stage, so the functions and microservices are aligned and in parallel. However, as the business size increases as well as the situations get complicated, so the relationship between microservices and feature and functions, the relationship is very hard to maintain. So it's not a independent service from Merpay, but should be combined with other types of services like fintech and so on. So as an organization, this should be implemented. And how can we realize that? That was very difficult. So in the future, So microservice migration is going on at Mercari side. So Mercari Merpay, so microservices are not dependent on Mercari Merpay. So as a foundation, there is an effort to generate such kind of thing as a group in general. So the same functions should not be rerun in various places. So that is for the sake of optimization. And ideally, if this is integrated into one place in a group, that would be ideal. So within Merpay, there are microservices, and some are microservices. I approved are microservices, of course, and they should be obtained by Merpay. However, there should be some virtual linkage. So including ownership setting for such cases, how can we put into a design that type of idea and some device or some concept needs to be enhanced or devised, considered. Thank you. So at the time of the launch of the company, so Merpay was starting from the concept of the microservices. So the organizations and microservices are always hand in hand as a culture. Then, when it gets to a type of infrastructure, it's a kind of a new paradigm shift for us. So that type of effort would require more and more consideration. And it's not only about system design, but when it comes to organizational design, there should be some design, system design as well as organizational design. So there should be always a linkage between these two. And I think that's a big challenging point. Thank you very much. So what about you, Mr. Kimura, Hideo-san? So, as Mr. Ozawa mentioned, as a total group of Mercari, there are many more things to do, as well as the organization. Size of an organization is bigger. So, as Mr. Sensui just talked about, so from a reverse point of Mr. Sensui's story, so as a total group, so this might be difficult to reach a technical agreement as a total group in this era. So Merpay is a kind of microservice native system, and Mercari still has some existing system that was intentionally left, and also some server connectivities. So depending on the phases of the business as well as features of the product, of course, we should choose depending on the cases, and I think it is good. However, as Sensui-san just mentioned, there should be also some common areas developed or generated. So this is about the productivity increase as well as the even quality among a group. So we call it a foundation, and I think this should be also enhanced at the same time, which is a challenge, I think. Thank you very much. So it's around the ending time, so we would like to finish the discussion. So one more point to talk about in the end. As I described in the summary slide, there are many challenges, and such kind of challenges will be introduced in the topics in TechFest presented. So today it's about safety mark as well as fraud detection. And also tomorrow there will be some integration of the user experiences as well as some common infrastructure for microservices. That's about the third day. So I hope you could listen to those sessions. And after the session, there will be always a survey held. So I hope you could give us some comments. Thank you very much for your watching. Thank you indeed. Goodbye.